Welcome to Steeler Nation Live. There's nothing more exciting than trying to get this show set up and having technical difficulties as usual at the last second. But welcome to Steeler Nation Live, folks. You can tell by my voice who was at the game last night. I was there to witness. I tell you, it was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to many of them. And like I said, if by the end of the night, if you didn't have tears in your eyes, you have no soul. I mean, it was a great night for all. We're going to talk about that later. Ben's last game. If my voice, I'm just getting my voice back from screaming and yelling last night, so you have to forgive me. A lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our next game against the Ravens in Maryland next Sunday, 1 o'clock. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns game, the stats out there, how we beat the Cleveland Browns, how we almost lost to the Cleveland Browns. You know, what are they going to do to the referees? I mean, the refereeing crew that was at the game last night could not officiate a Go Fish competition in cards with preschoolers. We'll talk about that later. Also in the news, once again, Antonio Brown. We're going to go into depth about Antonio Brown like everybody else. So, you know, just pull up your chair, get your pens, get your pencils, get your popcorn out. We're going to talk about that. And also, Steeler Nation Live, we're always looking for new sponsors. So if there's anybody out there who would like to sponsor Steeler Nation Live, we'd be more than happy. You know, contact us, you know, go to our website, message us, send us emails, whatever you can. We would love to be in partnership with you out there and get your product, get your restaurant, get your bar, get your automotive shop, whatever, your mom and pop store. You want us to publicize you? Contact us. We'd be more than happy to do that. And Sanders, last night, like I said, one of the greatest sporting events ever. I mean, classic Steeler fans. I mean, if you look at the video, the highlights, if you watch it on ESPN or those other sporting news channels, you can watch it at our website go to www.steelernationlive.net. If you have comments, questions, please call us at 585-210-3917. That's 585-210-3917. And like I said, Sanders, I was at the game last night. I know you were home in your nice, warm, comfy couch in your house while I'm up there, you know, 9 rows in the end zone. You know, I wasn't freezing because I came prepared.
Yeah.
I dressed appropriately, but there was a crisp in the air. It was chilly, but you know what? The weather was perfect football for this time of the year. I mean, there was no snow, no rain, hardly any wind. It was just freaking cold.
Yeah, and I bet you it was, man. You know what? Just the fact of like watching it on TV, watching Big Ben, you know, trying to win this thing out. You know, a lot of people don't realize this is a guy who's put in multiple years with the Steelers, multiple years of punishment, multiple things going on that kept, you know, him from time to time from getting a title, including other things that go along with being, you know, king of what we called black and yellow. And the problem, what it was, is that watching him go out in a winning style, beating the Cleveland Browns, the one who caused us not to get further into the playoffs last year. So James, it was huge. It was nice to see him walk off the way he did. And, you know, it was just phenomenal. And you know what? The thing about it is, James, he was at the game last night and appreciated things James, that you've done to help us with this whole situation of trying to be there, but not there. How do you guys see the fact Ben coming out of the tunnel, James? It was an epic situation. Give us your thoughts on that? Just watching Ben.
Man, just talking about it, just remembering where I was last night, I got goosebumps. It was chilling. It was amazing. The crowd. You look at the stands right now. You see yellow. Now, if you've been to Heinz Field before, you know that the seats are all yellow, but those are not empty seats, folks at home. Those are terrible towels. You could see how conjoined the yellow is. Those are all towels waving, all towels. There's no mistake about it. I got some photos from where I was sitting If you're watching right now, those are the photos I sent Sanders to put in there. I was like pretty damn close to the end zone. I mean, great. I mean, it was just unbelievable. There's a picture of me and my son, and there's Trevor right there. Kind of looks like Boswell. I could have said I was there with Boswell, but yeah, I was dressed pretty warm. The beer was extra cold because it was like extra cold out there. But just being there and witnessing, but it all could have went to not Sanders. Statistically, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off, they look like the Steelers of old, controlling the clock, running the ball, and top-notch defense. I mean, we had 9 sacks, 2 turnovers, but it kind of looked like if you watched the game, you would think that the Cleveland Browns, they were pretty much in it. And it's because the lack of officiating. I mean, there were so many missed calls. And then there were so many calls that should have been missed, like almost like the final touchdown drive of the Cleveland Browns, where he had 3 pass interference plays, the fourth and forever, and the ball was clearly overthrown. Yes, there was some contact, but the ball was uncatchable. And then the pass interference at the goal line, where both the receiver and the defender are going for the ball. It was just a complete defensive play by the corner, by Joe Hayden. And they gave him that. There was another interference in between there. And it's the only call we got was like early in the first quarter, where Najee's shoe came off, and I think Garrett or Clowney took it and threw it for whatever reason. But there was a face mask flag that got picked up, and I could see from my seat, and they did a little adding. They throw it on the Jumbotron for all to see clearly. And we're looking at this and like, okay, where's the missed flag? Where's the penalty? A bunch of holdings that weren't called. But we could sit here all night, folks, and we could talk about how horrible the referees were last night, and they actually kept the Cleveland Browns in this game. You look statistically, the first half, Steelers had almost like 21 first downs. I can't. The number escapes me, but you look at the statistics for Ben. He threw like 40 times in the first half, and it was like he had a completion of like 2.3 yards per pass, and Najee had like 3.5 yards a carry. And we have to talk about this, Sanders. I mean, yay, we won. It's great, okay? And we're not trying to bash the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tomlin comes out, he says, win is a win. I understand that, but you got to see how you got to that win and how you almost did not get to that win.
Right.
And the play calling was, I haven't seen worse play calling, and it's not a challenge, Canada, to make worse calls. But when you're consistently running the ball, Najee was 5 yards a carry the first half as far as yardage to carries, and you're at 3rd down and 2s, 3rd down and 3s. Why are you going to throw the ball for 3 yards when you could just hand it off to your running back? I mean, it boggles my mind that interception been through late in the second quarter that sent us into halftime. Didn't have to be there. I mean, run, throw the ball downfield. Now they're playing 2 safety deep. So what do you do with 2 safety deep? You send your wide receivers long, linebackers come up to the line. You open up that center for your tight ends. Non-existent. Where were the tight ends? They were flanking off 2 yards, turn and catch. Not really getting anything. And Freiermuth, because of his size, he got a couple yards after the catch, but you shouldn't have to do that. Look at all the other teams, how they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, how the yards after the catch in the middle of the field, running down. You got the Gronkowskis, you got the Hoopers from the Cleveland Browns, you got all those guys out there. And what are they doing? They're taking the ball, they're catching the ball, and they're running with it instead of stopping across the line, turning, catching, and then you got all this momentum stopped. You have to consistently run a pattern, and that's not what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing. I hope somebody's out there listening. I hope Matt Canada's listening. Somebody in the Steelers offense, somebody, you got to initiate this. Ben's not going to throw the ball 40 yards down the field, but you can open up the secondary by utilizing your tight ends. And that's not what we're doing. And thank God that Najee Harris was able to, create some kind of holes to get these yards. I mean, he had 190 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. Thank God to the game sealer at the end. It was 38-yard run, the longest run in Pittsburgh Steeler offense in years. I think we talked about this offline. I think Benny Snell, when he was signed with the Steelers, I think he had a run of 29 yards his rookie season. But since then, it hasn't been anything. But the play calling, Sanders, and I know you're going to agree with me on this.
Yeah, 100%.
It's absurd.
Yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of Steeler fans want to know is the fact of, who's responsible? Who should take the blame for what's going on in some of their offensive play calls or offensive sets? Sometimes it becomes so predictable, and if it's not predictable, you got a quarterback who's back there behind a shattered line, and like we said, James, it always starts with the guys at the top, and we've talked about it before. We talked about it from the GM to the offensive coordinator to, for God's sakes, even the coach. It all starts there, and we have to recognize that, hey, guys, we starting early, so we're going to get it right on the horn. We got a call coming in here on Steeler Nation Live, so we're going to bring that in right now. So we'll have that right for you. Hey, caller, welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Who do we have on the line?
This is Todd and Gates, man.
Wow.
I've been trying to catch you guys for the last couple of weeks, but hey, it's a tough crowd, baby, to get in on your guys' show. Come on now.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I was hoping to run into you at the game last night, but
I would have been there, but since I got a new job, I couldn't take the time off because I just started 2 weeks ago. So I had to sell my Browns tickets, and I was feeling the pain last night because I wasn't in Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, you stayed nice and warm where you were at, because let me tell you, brother, it was chilly.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I was getting a little antsy watching that game, baby. My boys be killing me sometimes when I'm watching.
It doesn't have to be. I understand it's so frustrating. I mean, you don't have to have this Tom Brady offense, where you're firing the ball down the field 30, 40 yards every play. I mean, you have to use skill, technique to open up that defense. So what can work for you will work for you. And once we establish that running game, that should have opened up play action all day. Not one play action.
Yes, I didn't. There was never ran a play action. I know Ben's not the same as he was 10 years ago, whatever. I understand that. I'm thinking that I'm really shocked because after that, we did start getting those yards on the ground. I'm thinking, man, these cats are going to run play action. Never saw it the whole night, man.
And what happens,
and he was
Todd? What happens?
Quick throws.
What happens when we do play action and throw it to the tight ends, Todd? I want to hear it.
Man, you know we get some yards. You get Fryermuth catching one. You got Zach Gentry. Come on, it's obviously a no-brainer, but sometimes I'm thinking, what the hell is Keith Butler doing?
I mean, you know what? Sometimes you're too close to the project. Okay, you need to step back from the project, get some other eyes in there, and somebody's got to be watching this. I mean, we can't be the only 3 people on this planet who are Steeler fans who look at this game and say, why are they not doing play action? Why are they not getting the tight ends involved? Because I tell you, 98% of the time it's done, it's effective. It's effective. And if keep on doing something that's effective until it doesn't work anymore. You know what our offensive scheme is?
Exactly.
It's called insanity. You know what insanity is, Todd? That's when you continuously do
exactly what that means.
You do the same thing over and over and over again.
For a different result, bro.
Exactly.
But the only result we're getting, we're not moving the ball.
Yes. No. And then it's like, I understand he's made 46 pass attempts. Yeah, some of those throws he was kind of pressing a little bit. I mean, he was only, well, I think he was 23 for 46 last night.
Averaging 2.8 yards a throw, a catch.
Yeah. Well, you know what happens to your average when you throw that wide receiver screen and you get a yard or you get a -2. That's that play. I don't know why it doesn't work for us. If you can't set that block when you throw that screen to that wide receiver and you can't get your receivers, that tight end, to set a block, that play ain't going anywhere.
No, it's not.
When have you seen it work for us? Even when we had Antonio Brown. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Even when we had him, we weren't getting more than 2-3 yards. But I've seen other teams run that. You make the block and it's just at the right time. Man, I've seen them getting 12, 15 yards at a rip.
But here's the deal.
I've never seen our team do that.
And I'll tell you why. I got an answer for you, Todd.
Yeah.
I got an answer. Because we're so predictable. Teams are expecting it. When other teams do it,
so true.
When other teams do it, you watch the defender, they're off the line. They're nowhere near the line of scrimmage. You know what? You got to audible this.
Well,
you got to.
Well, it seems like they're running it with press coverage too, with the corner, the safeties rolled up there in the slot, and they're trying to got 3 bunch to the left, and they're trying to run that screen, and I'm like, my grandmother could stop this.
So here's the deal. You know how you do this? Listen, Todd. Listen to me now. Remember me next Tuesday, okay, pal? When the defense knows this play's coming, all right, you audible it. The 2 receivers turn and stand like they're going to do the bubble screen, and your 3rd receiver just shoot down the field. They won't be expecting it. And guess what? He's going to be wide open. And for Ben to overthrow it.
You overthrow it.
Man, wait a minute. Oh, that late in the fourth quarter on that was the final drive. I think the drive before. I can't remember who was out. He was out there. Running. He was wide open. Ben overthrow. I mean, that ball got away from him. He was trying to put something extra on it. I don't know if it slipped out of his hand. That ball was like 10 feet over his head, and I was like, God damn it, man! What the hell are you throwing?
Well, that was Ray McFumble, and he's not the biggest guy in the world, so I could understand. You know, it's the old crap moment where this guy's wide open and you just try to get the ball to him fast. We could be here all night talking about excuses.
But Todd, let me ask you quick now.
Yeah,
quick.
So you watched it, and you watched all the fan glory of Ben, getting 18 years in the league. That's no easy thing to do, and he did it
with the same team,
right? With the same team. What is your thoughts on Ben's whole time in his tenure with the Steelers?
I mean, he's had a pretty good run. I mean, the average NFL player, they're lucky they play 3 to 5 years, and to play 18, and that crazy dude in Tampa Bay is still playing. It's 20 years in the league, or was it 21? What? You got to have some skills. You got to have some luck too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Ben's been beat up. He's 6'5", and he's been beat up. He's been banged around. But, man, and the sacks, I didn't realize the number of sacks he's taken.
Oh, my God.
A lot of other quarterbacks, 526 sacks or 27. I don't think they'd still be playing 18 years later after playing pro football.
Well, here's another thing. Here's another thing, Todd.
Yeah.
That there's no statistic for all the cheap shots that Ben has taken. There's no statistic for penalties that should have been called.
Yeah.
That were not called. Yeah.
Exactly.
That is true.
And you add that on.
He's taken a lot of shots, man, over the last 18 years.
And a lot of those shots were dirty shots that should have drew penalties.
It was like what happened when Shaquille O'Neal was playing. You called a hack a shack. You take a shot at Ben every chance you get, and it's the same thing. Understandable. But, man, I tell you what, I did miss going down there last night. So we'll see what happens next week. Yeah, we do need some help. I can't see Jacksonville beating the Colts, but, hey, you never know, baby.
That's true.
You just don't know.
That's right. They beat the Colts in 2014.
And you never know what's going to happen when they play Jacksonville next Sunday. And
it's in Jacksonville. It's in Jacksonville.
Okay, it is.
It's in Jacksonville.
Were the Raiders in Oakland? Raiders Chargers, right?
Yes.
In that other game, as long as that don't end in a tie.
Yeah,
Right,
Something-
right.
I heard him saying it, but I couldn't
Right.
remember.
Right.
Well, we have to
Okay,
beat the
so-
Ravens first. Okay. We have to beat the Ravens first.
That's the one thing we have to take care of our own business is to take care of the Raiders. Or
Exactly.
take care of the Ravens. And then we got to see what happens. You see what they did. You see what they did with the Bills game, right?
Yeah, they bumped it up to 4:00,
They
4:30.
flexed it. They flexed it to 4. You know
I
why
didn't
they
know
did that, right?
So Pittsburgh Ravens could be
Oh,
on.
Not just that, but because New England's playing them, they didn't want to have that game not on at the same time because they don't want to have them not knowing, what's going on about winning that that AFC East.
Yep.
That's why they want those games played at the same time. So
Oh,
they bumped that Bills game.
The NFL and its drama, huh?
Oh, sure, just like pass
Yeah.
interference plays that don't happen, and face masking
Yeah,
penalties.
man.
We're just going to pick up the flag.
There were some calls that I did not see Sunday that should have been, and some that were called that were just like,
I don't
you threw a
know.
flag for that.
Yeah.
It's been
Listen,
it's been some craziness, and not just with the Steelers, but
Around the
every
whole
team in
league. You're right.
Some of the calls that have been made.
I agree.
just-
I agree.
just
I'm like,
imagine being
damn.
around 60,000 people who feel the same way.
You know the deal, because man, I've been in that stadium, and it's like, man, how are you guys gonna ever walk out of this stadium and there'd be that one knucklehead, okay?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that
Oh,
all
yeah.
fans are like that. Some are different. They're gonna want to throw something at your ass because
Yep.
Yeah.
of the retarded calls you made or the lack of them.
I heard words
You know how
that
goes.
I heard words that I've never heard in my life. I don't know if it was the alcohol combined with I don't know. I things that just can't repeat. This is a family show.
Hey, well, Todd, let me ask you this
Hey,
now.
yeah.
Now, the Steelers, let me get a score from you for the Steelers versus this last game of the year, trying to make it into the playoffs. Give me a
Trying to get
score,
into the
and will the
playoffs.
Steelers advance?
and I'm not even going to squeeze this one. And right now, he's still on the inactive list, right, Mr. Jackson?
So far. But, during game time,
So far,
just to stick it to us, they'll start them.
Well, you know what? I hope they do start him.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he does try to play. I don't know how effective he'll be since he hasn't been able to play, and how much cardio he's been able to do with a high ankle sprain, because that wasn't a regular ankle sprain.
No.
Because he'd have been back in a week.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna go this way, and it's probably gonna it'll probably be a 1-score game. It's the Ravens, because they like what the Browns were. You're trying to play that spoiler, and I don't think the Ravens saw their season going the way it did, and neither did Cleveland, being 11-5 last year, waxing the shit out of us
Oh,
in
yeah.
the playoffs last year.
Whew.
And, so we took that kind of hard last year. So I think they're going to be up for this one, and then we're just going to let the chips fall when they may. I got the score. I'm going to go 24-17.
24-17?
Baltimore, too. 24-17. PSL for life, baby.
You got it, Todd.
Todd, you the man, brother.
I'm gonna
I'm going to write that score down.
they're gonna-
24-17?
You know what they say? Old, you're black and gold till I'm old and I'm dead, baby. That's how I roll, baby. You
Hey, my
already
brother.
know this, man.
Keep it coming, brother. I love it. Hey, man,
All right.
thanks for calling in today, Todd. You the man.
I'll call you guys back next Tuesday. Win, lose, I'm calling in Tuesday.
All
That's
right.
my man. All right, my brother. Hey, that's what it's all about here on Steeler Nation Live. Black and yellow repping. We're getting calls in, text on the board. Hey, one of the things we also want to talk about, and we touched base on a little bit, was the whole Antonio Brown situation.
Yeah.
Now,
We got to talk about that.
now that's a big thing. So I'm gonna try to run a little video of that if I can, and see if we can get it in there. So let's see. Show on. There we go. So I'm gonna try to rip that up there for you and try to get it full screen. Try to get turn the volume down. There we go. And as a lot of you guys have seen, Antonio Brown, that whole situation with you got Evans. Evans trying to calm him down. Say, look, stop it. Do something different.
Yeah. But I guess what the whole idea was that Antonio Brown was still, he had some type of injury. He didn't feel like he could, be helpful to the team, and they just didn't care that, he had an injury. They was telling him and so he said, all right, if so this is the only way, this is how it's going to be. So this is what I'm going to have to do to leave this field. And he got half naked and try to get the crowd going. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And, fans are waving goodbye to him. But you got to take the craziness off the table.
Oh,
okay.
Boy.
Just for a minute, humor me, folks out there. You got to take the craziness off the field. Look at what this guy has done since he's entered the league. He was a high draft choice, and he came to the league and he had something to prove. He wasn't the biggest receiver in the world, but he was probably the fastest. And could he catch? Absolutely. Is he a team player? Was a team player, yes. And with that being said, he has a lot of achievements. What has he done for you lately? Well, let's look back when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers in his career. What has he done? What did he do for the Pittsburgh Steelers? He helped win a couple Super Bowls, and he pulled Ben's butt out of the fire many, many times. Many times.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, and you can look back, you know what? I've been watching, talk shows and sports shows, trying to get a feel what everybody else is feeling about the situation. And you know what? There's no empathy. There's no sympathy for this guy. And in fact, one commentator said that by talking about this way, Antonio Brown, we're making him the victim. No, we're not making him the victim. We're just trying to bring some realization to why or why not this person is acting the way he does. Now, he's a little prima donna in Pittsburgh. We got it. He's a diva. Got it. But he did what he was supposed to do, and he got paid for it. That one tragic hit to the head. And you know what? You could turn off the TV set right now and tell us that we're full of it. But you know what? Yeah, typical issues before this, the hit to the head, but after, he hasn't been the same since. What kind of normal, sane person throws furniture out of a hotel room down to unsuspecting people? Somebody who is not there. He mentally, he's not there. He needs help. By saying he needs help doesn't make him a victim. Okay. Just because you need help doesn't make you a victim. It's obviously there's something wrong upstairs, and somebody needs to take him, set him down, and get him straight. But until that happens, you're going to see these things. It's not consistent. He's not consistently crazy. You look at, he left Pittsburgh, crazy. Went to Oakland, good, turned crazy. Went to New England, good, turned crazy. Went to Tampa Bay, super good. Helped out a lot. Yeah. Did really good things. And right. He was that added. I mean, they had a plethora. Well, they have a plethora of receivers at Tom Brady's disposal. He throw in Gronk in there too. You know what I mean? But at some point, he got the crazy back. And it's not something that's it's consistent that he's good, crazy, good, crazy, good, crazy. Yeah, that's consistent. But it's not consistently crazy. You know what I mean? He plays for a while.
But I agree with you. It's I don't know. It's to me, it's a balance with him. I don't know if it's a thing with him trying to. If he is crazy, or if it's a show up thing, or it's a thing to try to get myself out of a contract I'm not happy with, or is it a situation that I just want it to be about me. But the latter with him not just being about me, I don't think that's it. I think it's the guy has got some serious issues because, like I said, what happens after you pull this move? Where do you go from here? I mean, because you're making a lot of money.
Well, you know what? I think you just answered the question that everybody's looking for. Let's do the math on this one. Okay. He was really, really good. He was producing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When did it stop? When did the crazy light turn on?
Right.
When all the receivers went down hurt and Tampa Bay started losing. Think about that for a second. All the teams that he's been on, once they start losing and there's nobody around to take the attention off of him, suddenly he's the attention grabber. Think about that for a second, folks.
Yeah.
When did the problem in Tampa Bay happen? Evans goes down. All the other receivers go down. Gronk went down for a little while. It was just him. All this pressure on him to produce with Tom Brady. And I'll tell you what, Tom Brady's not he's not your best friend. When it comes to business, it's business. And if you don't produce like the way Tom Brady says he wants you to produce, that puts a lot of pressure on you. And plus you have a reputation to uphold. So how can I get out of this? Sanders, you put it. I mean, you did it. You answered. I mean,
well, I think there's some other things that go into it now.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, now we all know that, and this is stuff that speculates or whatever, that he had an injury, that an ankle injury, that he felt like it wasn't healthy enough for him to go back in the game. So the coach was like, "Well, it's time for you to go back in the game." And he was like, "Well, coach, you know what? Not right now," or whatever he said to the coach. And I don't know if that's a true statement or not. And if it is, okay, I get it. I get it that you're hurt, but I still say that's not the way to handle it.
Right. No. I agree.
Right.
I agree with
But
you.
here's the other caveat. Now, Antonio has some incentives that was, supposed to be ingested within this contract for the year. Now, we all know, we talked about it offline a little, I think, yesterday. But the fact is, Brown needed 8 more catches to unlock $333,000 contract bonus. Now, he needed 8 catches for that. Now, is it the fact that he wasn't getting thrown the ball? I don't know what plays into it. Now, check this out. 55 more receiving yards to unlock another $300,000. Now, I don't know about you guys. I'd be pissed. I don't know if maybe he's yelling at the wrong person. Maybe he need to yell at Brady. I don't know who he needs to yell at, the offensive coordinator, but I'd be pissed. Because you know what? $300,000, I'm going out there and I'm going across the middle and I'm going to catch me a pass. But the thing about it is, and check this out, and he only needed 1 more receiving touchdown to unlock another $300,000. Now, let me ask you.
That's almost $1 million right there.
$1 million. That's $1 million that he had on the line for this season. And it looks at this point like it's not going to happen. So is that enough to make me go crazy?
Well, here's the deal.
Maybe.
See,
maybe.
I'm playing devil's advocate right now, Sanders. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm pretty sure there's some out there.
Before you go on,
sure.
I want to make sure I let the guys know to make sure you call in. We want to hear your feedback on the Antonio Brown situation. What you think it is. 585-210-3917. I'm going to put it up on the screen. And James, sorry for cutting you off. But I had to put that out there, guys. So make sure we want to get your feedback on the Antonio Brown situation. That $1 million, that's a lot of money.
Well, let's talk about it. He might be one of the best receivers out there. That's his thing. His other thing that he may not have is the smarts to keep track of all that. Just because he does what he does on the field doesn't mean he's book smart or he knows his contract or his agent isn't forthcoming with him. But I don't understand why because his agent would get money out of that too. But maybe he doesn't realize that's what's in his contract. I mean, I'm just an advocate here. I'm devil's advocate. It could be a possibility that, some sane people who knows like, hey, like Sanders and I, we have to talk about this, that, and the other on the show. And if we do that, we're going to get sponsors, we're going to get money or whatever. But if we don't know that and we don't do it, we're not going to get what should be coming to us. Maybe he doesn't know what's going on. But what we do know is we have a caller coming in.
Hey, caller. Who we got on the line on Steeler Nation Live tonight?
This is your favorite cowboy.
I thought we blocked him. I thought we blocked that number.
We should have blocked him.
See, he's calling from a different number. We're on you, pal. We know we're kidding. We're kidding. We're gonna block him tonight.
Loving the show, fellas. Loving the show. Y'all got a lot to talk about tonight. The whole Antonio Brown fiasco. I hear what both of you guys are saying, but I understand with the hurt thing. There's a lot of football players. Hey, y'all know about the Mike Webster story.
Yeah, playing hurt.
And just kept playing hurt. If that is the case, I know they said that was the case, and there could have been some other things or whatnot, but sometimes the NFL doctors just okay you just so you can go get back in there and
because it's a money grab. If he's not on that field, they're not making money. The doctors aren't making money. Nobody's making money. And it's unfortunate because these guys put their lives on the line. You could say that I'm, being ridiculous, but you go out there and you run across the field doing a slant and catching a ball, or you got to jump up to catch it. And you got this linebacker who's 280, 290 pounds, 0% body fat on him, all muscle, all equipment. And you're about to get popped by this guy. And you do. That weighs heavy on the brain. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So if you're not out there making money, they're not making money. So they're going to say and do whatever they want to get you back on the field.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Exactly.
Hey,
and I get it. I understand it. If that is what it is, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to ask you as well, because we got some other callers calling in too at the same time. But I want to get your feedback on it. And I hear what you're saying about the fact that, people try to push you out there because you're a product and they're trying to make money off you. And just like you said, if he's not out there and, not generating money for us, then the whole system suffers to a certain extent. But the fact is, Antonio Brown, I just felt that he's got, there's got to be some issue going on that you don't know how to handle stuff correctly. Now, if you let me put another instance in a regular life term, working everyday guy like yourself and me.
Okay.
Now, if you go to your job and you're unhappy with what your boss said, and you go in there and you start taking off your shirt,
unless you're a stripper,
and then you throw your dirty underwear all over your job. Now, let me ask you seriously, what do you think should happen to you? Or what do you think people's perception is going to be of you? Even though other people's perception really shouldn't matter.
Exactly. But the difference is he's an influencer, and we just go to work every day. We don't influence nobody but ourselves.
I like that.
But he's an influencer, so he realizes his commodity, that he is a commodity, a high-priced commodity, if you will. He realized his worth, if you know what I mean.
Right.
He can influence people by the things he does because they're fans of his. You know what I mean?
Right.
And us, on the other hand, who we influence? Y'all are influencing people.
Right.
Steeler Nation Live is worldwide, baby.
That's it, baby. See that my boy knows.
Because he had that influence, that personality, that thing that people want to see and gravitate toward. It drives income. You know what I mean?
Right.
For the team owner, for the doctor, for everyone, like you said earlier, and that's him making a statement. He could be tired of being hurt and playing hurt, and then they keep okaying him when he's not okay, and he's thinking about the rest of his life as opposed to
there you go.
The money to be made.
You get it.
That's a point. Get it. That's a point. I agree. All
right, unblock him.
Unblock him.
He's got a great point.
Hey, Kiddo, I love what you're putting out tonight, brother, and I agree with you to a certain extent. Like I said, I look at the other side as well. And you do have a valid point. And this is a good friend of mine. I spoke to him offline and he talked about it. But Kim, we're going to get up because we got another call coming in, brother. And I appreciate you calling in.
Oh, yeah, fellas. Keep up the great work, man.
You know it, brother. All right. Who do we have on the line? Sorry about that. It took us a minute to get to you, but welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Who we got on the line?
Hey, Scott from Hilton.
Hey Scott. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm just hanging out here, reeling in my Steeler win.
Another Steeler fan. So I understand.
This is one of the few games I was actually able to watch without having a sick feeling in my stomach.
You didn't have a sick feeling?
They weren't perfect. I just want to watch a Steeler game where I don't have to worry about them losing. I know it sounds selfish.
No, it's not.
But I don't care.
Right.
There's too many games where we we were getting hammered, and then we came back and almost made it. Or there were some games where, we're fighting to stay in it. And, you just sick to your stomach watching these guys play. But most of the time they pulled it out. But the other times, when they lose, you just wind up sick.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of sick last night when those 3 pass interference penalties against Pittsburgh Steelers didn't have to happen. The game should have ended pretty much right there when it was 4th and forever. And it was a horrible penalty. I mean, it was 20 yards down the field, overthrown, even if there was some contact.
But
Call incidental
that's
contact.
But that's
But,
Pittsburgh.
but I remember when you had Jim DeBell on, the former NFL ref, a couple weeks. These games get reviewed and they get rated. I never knew that they get all these different NFL teams. I never knew they were in teams. They travel in packs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Zebras.
Like that team they had last night.
Again, they get rated. Yeah, they got those from the Seeing Eye Center. I could tell right there. but no, they had some issues. It's probably the fans were too loud. Got them all antsy and they're pantsy.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But,
the fans, they drew 4 penalties off of the Cleveland Browns offense because of the fans were so ridiculously loud. And 4 penalties. They keep stats on that. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. And I was one of those fans screaming and yelling. You could hear it in my voice. I just got my voice back this afternoon.
I wish you'd have kept it off.
Shut up.
But Scott, I had a question for you. Now we were online. We just had a nice debate about the whole Antonio Brown situation with what happening down in Tampa Bay.
Absolutely.
So give us
Poor
your
guy.
thoughts. Now we just went over what we see from different aspects. You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, if you're at your job and you go a little nutty and you start doing some crazy stuff because you're not happy with your situation, you're perceived as either he went nuts or he is nuts or he's whatever. What is your true thoughts on Antonio Brown? We all know he needs help.
I think, well, like in his spot, some of these players, they come from, not rich backgrounds. And then when they get into the NFL, granted, they work their ass off to get there. But once they get there, they got so much money they don't know what to do with, and that sense of elitism is just that's all they know now.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're all removed from where they grew up from. They're all removed from that. Now they're the rich, look at me type deal, and it just you live your own fantasy life, and like you said, you lose all
Concept of reality
sanity of what it's like to have a real job where you got to go to. Where you got to go to work every day, and you got to just not take off your shirt and whip it around like you said. But
Tiz, keep your clothes on, Tiz.
He does need some help. I saw that one player, I forgot who it was, tried to calm him down and says, "Dude, what do you think you're doing?
Evans,
You're a gazillionaire." I mean, I would eat crushed glass in the middle of that field for $25 an hour, and these guys are like making millions playing a game that they hopefully love. I mean, come on, man. If you're injured. Is that why he says there's different ways of getting attention?
Right. Now let me ask you this now, Scott, and that's a good point.
Yeah.
Now you said about the injury, and I agree with you. 100%. Now, what about the fact of I rattled off some numbers that was going to explode his contract upwards towards $1 million for
couple catches
for
here.
8 more catches to unlock $333,000, 55 more receiving yards to unlock another $300+ $1,000, and also one more touchdown catch to unlock another $333,000. Now, Scott, I don't know about you.
Played enough?
Huh?
Is that what you're thinking, that he thought he wasn't getting played enough?
That's what
him out of that money.
That's what I'm thinking is a possibility. Granted, he's got to come to the realization a lot of it is because he came up with a fake COVID card, which knocked him from playing at least 3 to 4 games.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
Right? But
you know how many of those?
You know how many of those COVID cards are out there in the NFL?
Oh, probably a lot. Yeah,
thousands. And why? Let's go with the guy with the mental issues.
And guess what? You see what Aaron Rodgers said? That the NFL has been secretly giving their players ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
Oh wow!
Everything. Those are you look it up. Aaron Rodgers blew that whistle in on Joe Rogan's show. No, a little competition on your podcast, but that's what they did. You look this crap up. Now they're giving these NFL players medicines that they can't. We can't get our hands on because I guess they're banned because they work. But now, now you're set up a two-class system. Why? And capitalism is going to cure COVID. I'm telling you what, because people are running out of money, including the NBA and the NFL.
And hockey.
They're
Look at
running
it.
out
Don't
of
forget
money.
hockey. Hockey is
that
out
too.
there.
They're catching on fast. But it's just like the COVID's hurting them in their pocketbook, and they're changing all these laws to get them back to the field as soon as possible.
Yeah,
It used to be 14 weeks, 14 days. Then it went to 10 days. Now, if you're feeling, you feel good. Now it's only 5 days.
Yeah,
But if you're taking a left-hand turn into the parking lot, it's only 3 days. It's
yep, and lick as
whatever
many
they
doorknobs as you can. Lick
right.
windows and door handles, and you'll be fine. Build up that immunity.
Yeah, but I'm sure you guys got other callers, man. I don't want to take you up all night.
No, sorry. Hey, give us a score for the Ravens game before we let you go.
I got a beef with that other guy. And Steelers, I say 23-10.
23-10 Steelers.
You got it.
That sounds about right.
Hey, like I said.
And Boswell probably kicked 6 field goals. I hope.
Which is a possibility, though.
Speaking of Boswell.
Steelers won 30-0, and Boswell had 10 field goals. It was awesome.
It doesn't matter. A win is a win.
Hey, Scott, like
That's
I said,
right. Who's
brother.
that punter, man? Keep that punter. Who the hell where the hell he come from?
He's 100% right. I know you were at the game.
I was at the game.
So, but on TV, man, that punter they got now, I don't know. From the looks of it, maybe he just had a good game. But Scott, this guy looks like he might take Harvin's spot.
Off the practice squad, just like what's his name, Witherspoon or whatever, the cornerback.
Right.
You got to let these guys play. But on Presley, on his defense, you have to take into consideration that football is what was it 90% physical, the other half is mental. Okay, and his father. On his deathbed, he brought him to the last game in Pittsburgh. I think the game we won against the Titans, and his father passed away on Christmas Day. Now, leading up to this, his illness. Now, I don't know about you, but if my father was on his deathbed and I knew he was going to die any day, I'm getting chills right now. If I knew he was going to pass away at any time, there would be no way in this God's green earth that I'd be able to concentrate on anything other than my father. So I know it sounds like
hey, you kick at the ball. Hey,
I know
kick at the ball. You got a job to do, eh?
Hey, Yarrow Yepremian. You know what? It doesn't matter what profession you're in. If you have a parent who's about to pass away, and you look at how he started at the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden his father got sick and got this illness and subsequently passed away, there'd be no way you have number one, your head in the game. Number two, nothing in this world would even matter to you if one of your parents was passing away. So for speaking for him, okay, great that we have somebody that came up and stepped in his place, but keep him until it doesn't work. Then when Presley gets his mind back together, whatnot, don't give up on this kid. Just because he's in the shape of a fire hydrant and this kid could kick. All right. Give him a chance, but you got to let the man grieve. All right.
Well, I'm jetting out of here. You
all right.
guys have a happy new year, and we'll talk after Sunday.
All right. Sounds like a plan. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's it, brother.
See you guys.
All right. Hey, like we said, guys, Steeler fans, loving the game last night. A lot of things to talk about, and also people on the board writing on both sides. You got Trevor saying, "I hope they don't cut Harvin, but I think they'll give him the offseason to gather himself." And which I agree, because that whole situation, which you just said, it feeds into that. You got things that go around your head, and it's going to affect everything else. So Harvin he'll be there next year. But if this guy, they're not going to let go of this guy who they just brought in. That's for definite.
Well,
that guy won himself a job last night.
Here's another topic. Who has it more worse right now? Antonio Brown, it's pretty bad, or Baker Mayfield? Let's talk about Baker Mayfield for a second there, folks.
Oh, God.
It's out there. We got to talk about it. Now, the Browns have had 29 quarterbacks since the beginning of 2000, folks. 29 quarterbacks. Let's do the math on that. So they draft this kid in, I think it was 2000. Was it 2018 possibly? First round, first pick overall. He comes in, starts to do a good job. Okay, Browns had the one solid year. They got all the draft picks, new coaches, new GM, everything. Everything's going great. But then the reality sets in. And the way I told Sanders at the beginning of the show off air was that it's just like a quarterback mirage, a mirage. You know what I mean? In the desert, they see this guy, they sign him, and he turns out to be what it is, a mirage. Last night at the game, he had 10 consecutive throws without a completion, and that's drop balls, a lot of balls batted down, and the sacks, the pressure on him last night, and he showed that he's not their savior. So the thing about this is, he's looking for a big contract. His contract's up. He's looking for a big contract, just like Josh Allen's grabbing and all those other quality quarterbacks. I mean, what do you think, Sanders? I mean, are the Cleveland Browns going to draft another quarterback coming into this draft that would make 30 quarterbacks in the past 22 years?
Oh, why not? 30 is the even number. And the fact that the other thing about it is that they got to do something. I mean, he's not really progressing, and the direction that he's going into is so uneven. It's like you don't know what you're getting. You might as well have Fitzpatrick back there. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from game to game with this guy. He needs to go, and I think they might as well make that move right now with Mayfield, why they can possibly get something for him.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a fantastic backup to Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I agree.
I just made it up.
I know. But the thing about it is he's got to make a move, and the Steelers have to think about that as well during this offseason. The Steelers have a lot of moves. They got a lot of young players on the team now. People got to think about that, especially with Ben being gone. But before we touch base on that, you got to think about it, James. We never touched base on the huge elephant in the room. You know how that is. TJ Watt!
Oh, man.
TJ Watt. What a night. What a night. What a night.
What are you talking about? 21 and a half sacks so far this season. I think he's one sack to break the record. And we all know who that record is. Used to play for New York Football Giants. I'm telling you, man, it's just wow. And he's missed 2.5, 3 games this season. This kid is unstoppable. Stay healthy. And look, just imagine, I guarantee you, if he played those 3 games, Sanders, I would say he would be at least 25 to 27 sacks right now this year.
Right.
Unbelievable. This kid is a ball hawk. We got a message on the board, MVP. Last night at the game, holy cow. The fans were yelling MVP. Getting back to Baker Mayfield really quick. I think the fans, us, got into his head. I think that's another, besides the Steelers' stellar defense, I think the fans had a lot to do with it. Got inside his head, and something about go make another commercial, or make a commercial about you guys losing again. And there's a lot of time, and this is like cohesive. 60,000 plus people saying the same stuff. Thank you, Ben. That was huge. MVP for Watt. And it was amazing. And the sea of towels, and it just the crowd, it was just, wow. It was very, very chilling. I mean, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and if you want to get that all in there, and plus a Pittsburgh Steelers win, man, that's a cherry on top right there, pal.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Well, and one of the messages we had on the board, we had Joe. He said, you fellas, you had a nice Steelers win last night, and he's a Bengals fan. He said, but the Bengals are turning the corner, and that division may be theirs for years to come. Well, if we get your thought on that. Glad to see Big Ben win at home last night. Now, and he also touched base on Baker Mayfield. He said Baker's a bust. Coach and ownership see it. They definitely drafted a QB this year. And we just talked about that as well. We do think they will get a QB this year. But the thing about it is, you got the Bengals trying to take control of that division. And they did this year.
They did.
They
Congratulations.
Had the
Congratulations.
But one of the things that I did want to discuss is the fact that the Steelers they're a team that's good at transition. When I say transition, I mean like going from the Steelers are rebuilding. Let's be honest. They're in a rebuilding phase, and the Steelers are still out there doing it in a rebuilding stage. Now, that's the part that's amazing. And not just doing it. We We beat the Bills, started the season. They had some other huge games they should have won or got close to winning. Matter of fact, I believe the first time we played the Bengals didn't even pull this game out until probably in the later third or fourth quarter.
Right.
But the thing about it is that the Steelers show that they can be competitive even during a building stage. Now, the only other team out there I know that can do that is the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Now, the New England Patriots rebuilding stage, but look at them. They're at the top of their division again during this whole rebuilding process with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, they were laughing stock at the beginning of the season. And look at them now. They're top of the division. And you see what happens is because Belichick is so quiet. He's not up there, rah, rah, rah. He's not up there, look at me, look at me. It's just he has a job to do, and he does it. There's no limelight or whatever. And look how the Patriots snuck up in that division. Look how there was no underhandedness. They're playing football. They had to get their stuff together. They got it together. And look at them now. It has nothing to do with Tom Brady. It has a lot to do with Bill Belichick and his GM and his coaching staff. Take these no-name players and turn them into rock stars. And it's just why? Because there's no flair. There's no look at me. There's no, look at me. There's none of that. They do they look at me by saying, look at the division. Look at where we're standing right now. And they're still, after kicking everybody's ass going up that division, they're not looking back. They're looking forward. And that's what a championship team does. It doesn't matter what name is on the back of that jersey. It all depends on the goal and how you get there. And that's why the Patriots continue with that winning tradition, is that they have goals to meet, they have goals to set, and they set them. Doesn't matter who's running the ship, they do it. And unfortunately, that's the name of the ball game, folks.
Yeah.
And getting back really quick to the Cincinnati Bengals, if you look in their past history, they were always one step away from being a contending team. Last season or the season before that, I can't remember how many games they lost by a margin of maximum of 2 points a game. They were always in the game. It's just that they lacked finishing. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. They would start off, but they couldn't finish. And I think the Bengals are finally getting that recipe together to make that nice, delicious meal, because everything is going their way. But you know what? They are the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, and they do have a history. And it's unfortunate they're in our division and we have to play them twice a year. So I'm a little bit, not on the Cincinnati Bengals happy train. You know what I'm saying? Because they're a foe. But you know what? The wheels will fall off sooner or later. But you know what? You got to give kudos to what it is. They're doing a great job this year.
Heck yeah.
The coaching, everybody's gelling together. Burrow is back, and you got that fantastic core of wide receivers that this guy can hit on a dime. And if you give him time, and not to mention there's no slouch in the running game either. So with that being said, and we talked about drafting quarterbacks, folks, what's your input with the Pittsburgh Steelers next year? Call us 585-210-3917. We want your take on what the Pittsburgh Steelers should do. There's talk, Mike Tomlin, we talked about this before on the show. Mike Tomlin is saying we're not going to draft a quarterback. I want a veteran in there because, he doesn't want to spend the time of his last 3 years or whatnot, his contract to train a new dog, new tricks. He wants somebody in there who can just get the job done and hope that we could win a Super Bowl. But what's your take on that? Should we draft a quarterback? I mean, they're saying that this draft class is not good. Well, you take last year's draft class, which was amazing. So it's not going to look as talented as last year's, but there is a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent that could do good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we talked about this, Sanders. We've been talking about this since last year. Desmond Ritter, however you want to pronounce it, Cincinnati Bearcats. This guy's a dual threat. This guy's got a strong arm. He could run. You don't know what you're getting back there. Almost like a Lamar Jackson-esque kind of quarterback, but even better. He's younger. He's got a lot ahead of him. Matt Corral from Ole Miss, who just got a high ankle sprain in the bowl game. They lost. It's just there's a lot of quarterback. Pickett from the University of Pittsburgh, who practically looks like Roethlisberger 2.0. Same kind of somewhat mobile quarterback, big in stature, hard to break down, strong arm, and he's in there, but he won't be around by the time we get there. So my take is on this. Listen to me now. Remember, next Tuesday, Steelers will draft a quarterback in the first round. However, your starting quarterback for next year is going to be Mason Rudolph. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. He's going to play 2 or 3 games, get yanked, and whoever we draft is going to be in there. But I hope that's not the case. I hope if Mason Rudolph gets the job, that he does the job of a Super Bowl quarterback, the quality of a quarterback.
Yeah.
But
and that's, as you can see on the board, Trevor Rodgers or Wilson would look good in the Steelers uniform.
now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, a lot of naysayers out there because they don't like change. Oh, Rodgers will never leave. Rodgers won't do this. You know what? He's got enough Super Bowls, and he'll probably win a Super Bowl this year. So what else does he have to play for? Let's go to another team that has more potential winning a Super Bowl, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, the rumors are true. He has been seen with a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers attire on, shirts, whatever you want. And he has been talking about the city of Pittsburgh, how he loves Pittsburgh and how it's a great city. We all know it is. We all love to live there, but unfortunately, because of our circumstances, we cannot do so at this time. And Russell Wilson, another player who wants to get out of his team, who can help the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have the money. So, I mean, and Jimmy Garoppolo was thrown in there too, but he's, as of late, been very injury prone. So are the Steelers going to take a chance on him? Marcus Mariota, backup quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. I really like this kid. He had his time to shine in Tennessee. They didn't give him the ball, and he wasn't able to flourish, and he wasn't able to grow. I think a quarterback of his stature, if the Pittsburgh Steelers could get him on cheap with some draft picks off season, I think I would grab him until we find a quarterback who's going to right this ship. A lot of things going on there. Sanders, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you totally, and that probably is the best bet for him to do, is to get a veteran for right now, like you said, just somebody to come in, and you're trying to fill that gap. You're trying to fill other needs that you have to take care of for the Steelers anyway. So do what you need to do to get by that, and also to stay competitive at that rate. And I do agree with you 100% on that. But the other thing also I wanted to talk to you about as well that has came up a lot is the fact that is it that time? I've been hearing that from a lot of fans out there about Tomlin. You know, Tomlin this, Tomlin that. Whenever the Steelers don't win, he needs to go. He needs to be fired. He needs to blah, 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 blah. So I'm asking you tonight on this show, is it that time? Is it that time for Tomlin to not be a Steeler anymore, for us to move on and advance from Tomlin? Now, the Steelers have had a lot of great coaches in their storied franchise career. As we see, Cowher was a phenomenal talent for the Steelers. And, you know, before Cowher, before Cowher, there was also the great Chuck Noll, who was a great man for the Steelers. Cowher, is also advancing in other aspects of football. Chuck Noll, great Steeler, 209 wins, 156 losses, 1 tie, 23 years in black and gold. Now, I ask you this. Is it that time? Is it that time for Tomlin to lead Pittsburgh? A lot of people out there who sit there and say, you know what? The Steelers need to advance from Tomlin. I say no. Me, myself, I say no. And the reason why I do, before I get the feedback, I want to make sure you guys see it and understand it. Now, you got Chuck Noll, 209 wins, 156 losses, and 1 tie. That damn tie. Cowher, 149 wins, 90 losses, 1 tie.
1 tie.
15 years of service. Tomlin, 161 wins. He's in second place. He leaped Cowher. 93 losses, 2 ties.
2 ties.
14, 15 years of service. Now, during that duration, Chuck Noll had 7 losing seasons within those 23 years. A lot of people don't realize that. Now, he had he had 7 losing seasons within 23 years. 23 years is a long time. And 4 other seasons, he was 9-7. Cowher had 3 losing seasons, 1998, 1999, 2003, and 2 times he went 9-7. Tomlin, no losing seasons at all. 3 seasons of 8-8, 2012, 2013, 2019. Now, in hearing these numbers about these iconic coaches, a lot of Steeler fans get fired up, and the first thing they reach for is the red button, the fix it right now. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's the thing to do, letting go of Tomlin. I even see messages on the board that says, yep, I will not be happy if they fire Tomlin. And you're right. I agree 100%. That's not the key. I think the thing is for the Steelers is to move on from Roethlisberger like they're doing and give him that chance. Because I do believe that Tomlin is a coach that actually took a team with Duck. What is his name? Duck Dodgers, whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, jeez.
They took a team with a guy with that name, and he almost took him to the playoffs. Rudolph was the other quarterback. Steelers found ways to win games and almost made the playoffs. So I say the thing about it is to not press the panic button. I believe once we get a quarterback that's going to fit our unit, our lifestyle, the way that Pittsburgh way of things doing it, I believe the Steelers will be good again. And not just that, James, like I told you, we're rebuilding right now. We've been rebuilding for a while now. A lot of these guys, besides Ben Roethlisberger, are young.
Yeah. We need rebuild, right? And what people don't understand is people assume rebuild players. We need to rebuild from the top up. And before I start by talking about that, and I do believe Tomlin needs to stay. Tomlin needs to stay. And there's a bunch of reasons. One that you pretty much allude to, he's a winning coach. Okay. Unfortunately, there are no other coaches out there. Because I'll tell you what, if there was a quality coach out there, not saying that they would fire Tomlin, put this coach in his place, but there would be a lot of pressure on Mike Tomlin to produce. And we've seen it. All this season, the unpreparedness of the Pittsburgh Steelers going into games, the games that we're down 20, 30 points and a half, but do come back and resilient like, and almost win these games. You have to be prepared for every game. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but then you have to have the coaches underneath Tomlin who are getting the players up to get them ready to play and, to produce. That's not happening either. But where it starts, Kevin Colbert, the GM for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's had his glory time, just like Ben Roethlisberger. We're not here to beat Ben up. And, you got to know when is. And Ben's realizing that it's time. So it's time to get a new GM, somebody younger, somebody smarter, somebody who's going to get the right players. And like I said, Kevin Colbert did a great job for many, many years. But you can see as these draft picks are like, number one, who's this guy? Number two, where'd he come from? Number three, why'd we draft this guy? And number four, he turns out to be a bust. Artie Burns, Bud Dupree, there's many others. There's a plethora of others. I was going to write it down, but I don't want to bore you folks and just, like slap you in the face with all the mistakes that we've done. It's time for him to go as well. Ben knows it, and someday Tomlin's going to know it too. And when you touch base on our past three coaches for the past, 40, 50 years, 60 years, we had only three coaches. When was it time to get a new coach? It seems kind of like right now when Chuck Noll was in there and the Steelers were nothing and he brought him up 4 Super Bowl championships. And then all of a sudden this team started to decline where we came from. So it's time for Chuck Noll to leave. Unfortunately, we get Bill Cowher in there, turns his team around, not Super Bowl champions right away, but he built this team. And then what happened after he won a Super Bowl? Team started to decline. So that's when you kind of realize, well, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to move on. And then Mike Tomlin comes in and he restructures the ship as well. And he starts them off. He gets a Super Bowl win and we evened out, but now it's starting to be more known of the Pittsburgh Steelers and somewhat of a decline. Yes, we haven't had a losing season under Mike Tomlin for the past 14 years, but we already talked about earlier in the show, the common goal is to win the Super Bowl, not to get a 500 season, not to just be in the playoffs, be happy we're there. Yay, we're turning this thing around. We're really doing good. No, you play to win, You play to win the Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal. And not every team is capable of doing that. You got to try. But when you have a tradition as great as the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's almost like the New York Yankees and all these other prestigious sporting teams who have won multiple championships. You got a tradition. You got to continue this. And it's not a fluke for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have 6 Super Bowl championships. It's not. It's called talent. It's called coaching. And right now, we are lacking in we're lacking it right now. And leadership is everything. And Mike Tomlin, he's a leader, but we have to get people who want to be led. And unless you get those right pieces of the puzzle, you're not going to have a good picture. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Hey, guys, like we said, we had a full show for you guys today. And the thing about it is, we love talking about our Pittsburgh Steelers. And we also want you guys to know we out there and we're looking for sponsors for the show. Some other sponsors to jump on board. We do a lot of things here on Steeler Nation Live. So we're giving it out to you guys as well. So, guys, till we see you guys next Tuesday, it's from your boy Sanders Tisdale,
James Owen. Hopefully, we'll have some good playoff news for you fans out there.
Let's hope so. So, guys, Tuesday, make sure you're there with a win from the Pittsburgh Steelers.